What's happening, fishing friends? If you like gear talk, you're going to want to stay tuned for this one because today we're talking the best and worst gear, rods, and reels of 2024. Now, some of this was brand new stuff that came out in the year. Some of the stuff might have been a year or so older, but still made the list, and I wanted to talk about it. So, enough yapping. Let's start with the good. Well, if you've watched my channel, you'll probably not be surprised by this. The first one up is the Shimano SLX MGL70. My favorite reel in the SLX lineup. I did a SLX review kind of video showing the different ones. And for sure, hands down, the one I pick up the most is this, the 70 size MGL. I have this on a jerkbait rod. You can see there I was tossing one of the smaller Stunna 100s. And I've used this for so many smaller bait things. That kind of 1/4 ounce and down sometimes can be finicky on some bait casters, but throw some 8 or 10 pound line on this thing, and you can throw 1/4 ounce lures. I mean, it's crazy. In my casting video that I just did, a few weeks back, this was supposed to be one of the entrants because I really thought this was kind of the dark horse that might win. However, I didn't have my brakes set up very high and I blew it up. This thing casts so easy. Hadn't ever used that one before. I actually have 2 of them. I ordered another one. There was a good sale this year, so I grabbed one more. This is the one I blew up. I didn't set the brakes at all, so learn your lesson. Always set your brakes way higher when you first go out. But anyway, definitely a pick for me. It does everything really well. You know, your smaller crankbaits, smaller topwaters, anything like that that might be a little finicky. I absolutely loved this reel. The second baitcaster on the list probably won't be a surprise. I'm kind of a Daiwa fanboy. This one holds a special place in my heart. If you recognize that crankbait, that was on a disastrous day in 2024 where I flipped the old kayak. But anyway, set this one aside because this was the only combo that survived that day. I had 6 combos with me. This one hung on by the grace of kayak gods past. I don't know. Anyway, this one held on, and this is the Tatula 100. So I think this one came out at the end of last year, I want to say. They made some really good upgrades on it. It is definitely a smoother Tatula, much better than the other one. They're a little blocky though still. I know some people with smaller hands, that's kind of a big thing for Daiwa where they don't really like those. They're not as palmable. This one definitely is better. They've kind of changed the shape up a little bit. It's a little bit more ergonomic. It's got this, can you see that, like divot? People really, really like that because it's like a center spot for your thumb to sit. And I do really like that. It feels really good. I know some people have talked about the knob over here that you can sometimes bump it and stuff. I've never had that issue. Again, I've got pretty average size hands. I can just barely palm a basketball, and these fit my hands great. So castability on these, I know I've said it before. I probably sound like a broken record, but I think Daiwa has the best braking system on the market. Set this thing in wind, doesn't matter. You don't ever have to mess with the spool tension knob. The way the zero adjust is meant to work is you're supposed to set it tight enough so there's like 1/1 billionth of a just barely touching that that spool tension knob just right before it, so there's just the tiniest bit of space. Then you don't have to move it ever again. That's the whole point behind the zero adjust, is the mag brakes in here. They're kind of a centrifugal mag mix. I absolutely love them. You just mess with the outside dial and that's all you have to do. So for me, and to kind of add on to that, they also came out with the more expensive SV spool version of it. Now the SV spool is meant to cast lighter lures. I definitely noticed the castability on this. This was also on the casting test, and the ease to it. It's one of those where you can just like whip it and the bait goes. Some of the bait casters, man, you really got to put force behind it to get them to go, but this was not that way. So these together, if you want to throw smaller baits and stuff, I would go up to this one. I think $220. Otherwise, the regular 100, if you're throwing your normal, I would say 1/4 ounce lures and up, 3/8 mostly, half. That reel is just fine. You're not going to need to upgrade to this one. So both of these reels kind of together. This is a little bit more pricey. So for the money, I would probably just fish a fleet of these and be completely content. Okay, the third bait caster in the lineup. This one might surprise some people. And honestly, I'm surprised you're not hearing more about it. Let's see, when did Abu come out with these? I think these were out last year, I want to say. They came out with their new Generation 5. So this is the Revo SX. If you remember, the old version of this, I also really like. The red and black one has been a solid reel. I've got a Gen 3 around here too somewhere, but have been solid reels. I've really liked the SX line. To me, that's the perfect spot of getting enough features and not going too crazy with it. There's the STX, I think has an aluminum handle side plate. Maybe a little bit different brakes. I don't remember for sure, but for me, for the price, this is like right around that $160. Now I'm not, trying to win $500,000 tournaments, that kind of stuff. But most of the 100 to 150, 60, 70-ish at the top point for baitcasters are super, super good reels. You can get really, really good stuff compared to, 15, 20 years ago where there was quite a difference between a $100 reel and, a $250 reel. You're starting to see a lot of that technology and more expensive reels filter down to this. Now, when I first got these, I thought, these things sound like crap. Why are there so many shakes and jiggles to it? Well, it wasn't until I opened it up and looked at the brakes. This is actually one of the things I like is the braking on this. It's really easy to use. It's a centrifugal braking system, all controlled from the outside. But see those little arms? They're free moving. So that's why it clicks in there. So it's not like the Shimano's where you have to turn these on or off. They're just sitting there. Now, that could be a turn off for some people because of the noise. I thought it was parts and stuff rattling around in there, but it's been a solid reel, and these have my favorite stock handles out of any reel on the market right now. The handles are large. Compare this to, there's the Daiwa. That's my only gripe on these is the tiny little handles. What are they doing? Give me something to grab onto. When you're wrenching a fish out of wood or muck, these you can just grab the whole thing and start turning. So great upgrades on that. They also upgraded the frame. So if you look at the old Revo frame here, kind of squared off. I know some people didn't like that. I still thought it was good. It's a good low profile reel. Either one, this old one or looking at this one, it's got a good low profile side to it. This one's just a tiny bit taller, but still really good, especially with that since they've curved the front of it. It's more ergonomic. So one that kind of flies under the radar, but I've really liked it for flipping, pitching, that kind of stuff. Now in my testing, I was a little surprised that it didn't cast as far as some of the other ones, but I haven't used it as my long bombing reel except for frogging. And that was my other favorite thing of this is it comes in a high speed. So there's the Revo SX Rocket, which I loved for frog fishing, and unfortunately that one was lost to the depths because of the kayak disaster too. Now they have this reel. I got this one to try as well. Very, very similar. This is the high speed, like 10, what is it? The Revo Rocket 10 1-to-1. I put some 50-pound braid on this, and both of these will absolutely sling a lure. So I think they definitely cast better distance-wise with braid compared to fluorocarbon. But usually that's the case, thinner braid, smaller diameter, it's not as wiry. But anyway, if you're worried about getting distance, maybe try braid on it. But absolutely was slinging a frog on this with this one or the SX Rocket. And for the price, it was hard for me not to just go with the SX version. So that's why for me in that 170-ish range, you can get a really good reel that can do a number of different things. All right, and the last one on the Baitcaster list is this, the Arc Gravity BFS. Yes, I've been dabbling in the BFS stuff. Was using the Shimano SLX BFS, couple others, even like a budget one, but for where you can find this one, for as good as it is for what it does, easy braking system and understand that works well. Overall, I think this is your best bet. I want to say $50, I think. Again, you can find it. It's not, something you have to go JDM over to Japan, find some of this crazy stuff. It's available, Tackle Warehouse, Omnia, which again, I'll always leave all my Tackle Warehouse links below. If you use any of those, a little bit comes back to me to help the channel, so I appreciate it, but you find it somewhere else, hey, that's cool. Anyway, this one, really nice. I put some 4-pound Varivas mono on this and have been using these and have been really, really happy with it. So if you're looking to get into the BFS game, I know it's a little over $100, but it's gonna be a buy once, be upset once, because this one will do it all, and you can actually find it. Okay, spinning reels. I'm gonna start out on the high end. I personally don't think I would ever need to go or own anything more expensive than this. Now I do have some. I just got one of the new Vanfords. I've got one of the old Tatula, Elite, whatever, LT, whatever those were, I think $200. Honestly, the Shimano Miravel, like $130. Look for sales, look for used. American Legacy had some of these for under $100. I don't think you need to go any more expensive than that. It's got the lighter frame. I think it's the CI4 frame, what they call it. It's good and light, feels smooth, comes in a number of different sizes. This one is the 2500 size, which I really like as a do-it-all. This is the one I was throwing my little Ned rig on there at the end of the season. But feels absolutely great. I don't think I would ever need to go any higher than this. I tend to look at more expensive reels on the Baitcaster side because that's where you get things like the brakes, sometimes handle upgrades, things like that that actually make a difference as you go up. With some of the spinning reels, usually it's a little bit lighter. It's got some sort of rotational system, to maybe make it a little bit smoother. Some of them kind of have that kind of clicky knock, the more budget-friendly version of some of these. But this one I've not had a single problem with. Drag has worked well. That's a big thing on spinning reels is they have to have a good drag. And honestly, from Daiwa and Shimano, that's pretty much the only spinning reels I fish now, because I think they are top of the heap. From 50, 60 bucks up to 100 and something, all of them have been really good. So that's why I was starting here, because I don't think I would ever really honestly need to own anything more expensive than that. I do, because I do the channel, and thanks to you all, people, donating and sending stuff in, using my links, I can do this. So again, all this gear stuff is for you guys, so I can do these reviews. Okay, the second spinning reel I've got is this one, the Naski. This is actually a two-parter. This one and the Sedona, which I couldn't find. That's an $80 reel. I used the heck out of it this year. I think it's actually out in the garage. People were asking me how I liked it. $80 versus this, the Nasi, which is $100. Now this is a little bit of an upgrade. It's got the Core Protect, so salt and fresh water. It's got the silent drive. I think the Sedona does as well. X-Ship. So there's definitely a few upgrades over this one. A little bit more of a robust reel. So if you're looking to hook bigger fish and stuff, you might as well spend the extra 20 bucks on this one. This is the 3000 size. As you see there, it does have the larger T handle. At first when I used those, I didn't really like them. Now I do. I think they are nice. It's had a good drag to it. Now, granted, I haven't fought, 20-pound inshore fish or anything like that, but for the bass fishing I've done around here in the Midwest, the drag's done well, both on this one and the Sedona. They're both really good reels. I would say look for deals. I think I got my Sedona on sale for like $50. These you can find on sale sometimes, look to find it used, but either one has been great. They've both been really good performing reels, again, from $70 to $130 in that Shimano lineup. They've been great. Now, for spinning, I know I'm probably going to sound like a broken record, the Daiwa Regal. Now, there's also the new Revros, which I've heard from a lot of people is really good. They're both very similar in price. I'm not sure what the exact difference is. I'd have to go in and look, but like $60-ish, $60, $70, and you can find these, again, on sale. Look for the sales. But this one has done extremely well for me. It's held up to, I was doing like a finesse free rig, Ned rig, shaky head, any of that stuff. This is the 2500 size, and again, has that T handle, which I've actually kind of grown to liking. I kind of hook my finger around the bottom of it and reel. Has been a really good spinning reel. So again, for spinning stuff, I don't think you need to go crazy expensive. That $50 to $100 price range has so many good spinning reels now. I don't think you need to spend a ton of money on them. Those are my spinning picks. Not a ton. I know I didn't use a ton of different ones, didn't buy a bunch of different ones, but man, those are super solid picks without going over, 100 something, 200 bucks. Okay, moving over to the bad gear for the reels. Now, I didn't go try a bunch of crazy reels that I didn't think I would like. Honestly, my not like list is pretty small. And this wasn't anything to do with the performance of these reels. More of kind of like a price gripe, and I'm going to pick on Abu for this. There's other companies that do it, but if you go over to the Abu Garcia Baitcaster reels and sort by price, the first one up there is the Abu Garcia Max X, $59. This is an excellent budget reel, often on sale for under $40. That's what I picked up mine for on a Christmas sale for like 35 bucks. It's done amazing. I've had zero issues with it. It's been an awesome budget reel. Now, you move up in price. The next is the Abu Garcia Max STX with those orange handles. It looks nice, but it's $79. You go up to, they have the Jordan Lee reel, which used to be $109. It's on clearance now because they're getting rid of it. They have the Abu Garcia Max Pro, the all-white reel, and then the Abu Garcia Revo X, the new line, for $120. So you have 5 reels from $59 up to $119 that are all very close to being the same. And actually, if you notice this white Max STX, there's the Jordan Lee side plate. The $59 Max X, well, there's that STX, the white side plate, and the Jordan Lee reel with the Max X side plate. They're all the exact same platform. So from $59 all the way up to $109, what's the difference? They don't have an aluminum frame, not like this old dog. The new Revo X is $120, $20 more than this old black one, the Gen 4, and it had an aluminum frame. Amazing reel. This one was actually made over in Korea when they made these. Really good, solid 99 budget reel. You saw a lot of people posting about these, and it was. Now this one has been through the ringer. It's a little grindy, and I haven't cleaned it for, a few years, but this was my frogging reel I used for 2 seasons. Beat the heck out of it, and it was still going. I had to put a new handle on it. I bent a handle, beat the tar out of it, and was still going. You can see this still is caked in all kinds of gross frog stuff all over. I haven't cleaned it, but it was one that held the test of time. Then they moved over to the graphite stuff. Now, maybe it's because of the cost of everything. pricing, shipping, materials, all that, obviously went up. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the deal why they had to cut, but having 5 different reels from that price range is pretty crazy to me. Now, as far as a good budget reel, I didn't even talk about this one, the Max X, because I've talked about it before. I really like it for 35 bucks if you get it on sale for basically under 40. One of the best out there. Now, again, it's got the graphite frame, graphite side plates. If you're going to be doing, hard, heavy hook sets, jigs, harder lure, or, heavier lures, harder hook set things, I would move up to something that has an aluminum frame. Lew's LFS or Shimano SLX, I think, are the best at that price now. So that's my only gripe. Now, again, none of these reels had any problems. You're just paying for extra cosmetics, like, Jordan Lee's name on this one with the yellow handles and the carbon fiber handle. It was cool, yes, but you're really not getting a whole lot out of it. Maybe, a few extra bearings, maybe upgrade, a little bit to the brakes or something here and there, but nothing crazy. That's my only gripe. Again, I didn't have any trouble with any of those reels. They all worked, but for the price, and there's, been other increases in price, I hate to see it. I guess I'm kind of an old Scrooge and feel like things should cost the same as they cost 10 years ago. Oh my God, I'm turning into my parents. All right, let's move over to the rods and talk about some that I really like. So some of my favorites for the year, the Daiwa Iridex. No, this is not a new rod, but I feel like I have to call it out because there are companies that are easily charging $99, $100 for a reel, or excuse me, a rod just like this, okay? This definitely hits above its price point. Now these rods are soft. So I have like, this is what, 7-foot medium, but I mean, it's more like a medium light. Like they're really soft. Or like a more of a moderate type of action to it. So not as crazy of a backbone, a little bit softer, which is great for some applications. Topwater, I've cranked with them. Number of different things where you don't need crazy sensitivities. If you wanted to get like a heavy for frogging or a medium heavy for some reaction baits, great. Now, if you're going to step up and want something a little bit more sensitive for a jig or Texas rig, there's other rods I would recommend, but for I think these are $59. Again, easily get them on sale under 40 bucks. I know I got these, I think, on a Christmas sale for like $39.99 in both the spinning and the bait casting. I'm going to kind of break these down first into bait casting, but this is one, it's a double header. If you're looking for a good budget rod, I've liked both of those, no problem. Let's just stick with Daiwa and go right up the line. So again, if you want something just a little bit more sensitive, now this isn't going to be crazy sensitive. People say, well, my X Pride's better than this. This is the Daiwa Tatula XT. I get it. But this is a $99 rod that looks the part of something more expensive, feels really good in hand, and has done well in everything that I've tested it with. I had the medium. This is the what? 7-foot medium rated for lures 1/4 to 3/4 ounce. I use this for smaller single hook baits, underspins, some smaller jigs, some topwater stuff, a little bit larger topwater lures, but great little rod. I really like these, and also we're just going to knock it out both in the spinning and the casting model. I really like on the spinning how they've got the foam up here. So a lot of the companies are doing where the reel nut is back here that tightens your reel on. I usually have just my pinky behind the spinning reel and hold it like this. So I kind of loop my finger there. Very comfortable in hand. And again, at 99 bucks, I think one of the nicest looking rods. Debo, looks don't matter. I get it. But, they at least put some work into it and wanted to make a good looking rod that when you go on the shelf, you're like, oh, dang, that does look a little bit more, right? Marketing for them, I know, but they do look really nice. If you don't like EVA, you won't like these. Go over to something different. But this is kind of my all, blacked out combo. This is what I like. Black with a little bit of white, some silver, really boring colors. But again, in all the testings, these have been really good. And these are not the softer action. These tend to have a faster action compared to the Iridex. So if you want something a little bit more crisp, go to these. When I skip over to Shimano, their brand name kind of flagship reel that I really don't see many people talking about, the Shimano Corrado line. The new black and green line went back to those colors. Do I have? I thought I grabbed one of these. This is the old Corrado E series, the 200E, and look at how it matches the green. That's back when they cared about paint jobs, and look at that gold green flake, such a cool looking reel. But these rods I really, really liked. I had 4 of them. Yes, 4. Mainly was getting those on sale over at American Legacy, the used ones. They were like brand new. I lost one of the jerkbait ones, the 6.8 in my kayak disaster. I know. Sorry, the 6.10. I got a 6.8 to replace that one. So again, I was using this for topwater, and jerkbaits had a little plopper on there with a little Shimano Corrado 70, a little small kind of finesse. And the last one was this 7.2 heavy, throwing a little bit heavier jigs, spinner baits. This is the day I was throwing that underspin with the paddle tail on it, and really like the bend and action of this. All the rods Again, super comfortable in hand. The trigger isn't anything annoying. It's not too far back. I have just my pinky back behind the trigger, hold my reel like this with my finger in front of it. All of them, even with a little bit larger reel like this is the Kistler Chromium, if you can see it there, the 200 size. So not a tiny reel at all, and still very, very comfortable in hand. So this lineup, like I said, I've used everything from the smaller ones, more cranking, up to this, and I've been really happy. And last up on the list, my favorite out of the Dobyns line, the Dobyns Caden. Again, in both casting and spinning. I've used them for a couple years. I found myself going to them multiple times this year when I would need a rod. I'd look at my rack real quick and grab one. Cadence were it. This one is the 712 712 SF, so spinning dart head, shaky worm, shaky head, tubes, Ned rigs, any of that stuff. This is just kind of one of those do-it-all good, you know, multi-purpose, not overly soft, but not crazy stiff. You know, a lot of the Dobyns rods do tend to have a little bit softer action, but this one compared to some others isn't super soft. Now in the casting, I feel like they were a little bit softer. Maybe it was just that specific spinning rod, but I got this one, and this is in the crankbait, which is probably why. Well, no, that one's over there. This was the other one I've got. I have two of the casting ones. 713C for flukes, jigs, Senkos, spinnerbaits, Texas rigs. So basically your do-it-all, and this is a little bit softer, medium heavy. So like when I put this on the ground and check softness, a little bit softer than some medium heavies out there, but I've really liked it. So, but the Cadence line I have really, really liked. I actually just got the 745, something like that, to try for flipping and pitching. A lot of people were asking me on that one. Again, not a new line, I know, but out of the Dobyns, if somebody said pick your favorite out of that whole line, the Caden. Absolutely love the Caden. And again, that price point, I believe right at 170 for Daiwa, Shimano, and the Dobyns, all of them right there. I would be fine, again, fishing a fleet of Cadens. I don't need to go any more expensive than that. So if that helps you all, I hope kind of that price range, you know, 170-ish seems to be kind of a sweet spot. Okay, now we're going to get over into some of the stuff that I didn't like as much. This one I really wanted to like. This is the St. Croix Bass X. I've had both the casting and spinning version of these, both the previous version, which was this bright in both spinning and casting. And I had one issue with it. When you go to tighten up the reel seat, it's back here. And this is why I like this one so much. Use the heck out of it. You can see the cork's all dirty. You hold it like this and it's nice and real low profile. Loved it. The problem was when you go to tighten this, see that, how it just clicks over? They had a problem with the reel nut on here tightening being an issue. I heard it from multiple people. But again, same thing with this. So this is the new version, I think came out last year or at the end of the year before, somewhere in there, but same thing. And when a company knows of it, look, it just keeps tightening right over, doesn't hold. When a company knows about an issue and doesn't resolve it for the next line, that's a big problem for me. So I probably won't be buying any more Bass X's, and it's a shame because I really do like St. Croix. I don't have anything against them. But when you know there's a glaring problem and don't fix it even for the next release, that's an issue. I did have a problem with that on the new Bass X casting rod. I did not have that issue on the series before this color in the casting. So I don't know what in the heck the deal is with that. It sucks because I like the rods. I mean, overall, they feel good. A little bit stiffer, you know, more of a faster action, not as soft, which is good for some things. I like that. But when they don't fix it, yeah, not a good deal. Next up was another one that was tough because, well, I mean, heck, I'm wearing the sweatshirt, but I got to be honest with you all, the Monster Bass rods. Now, I didn't have a problem with any of them. I really liked them. Good sensitivity, good deal through all of them. I think they sent me 4 of them to try out. The problem was the only rod that I broke this year was a Monster Bass rod. Now, I'm tough on my gear, right? I don't baby it. I use it the way it's meant to be used. But, you know, I could have accidentally stepped on the rod. I could have banged it, taking it from truck to kayak to boat, but I was out frog fishing. Here's the clip. Oh, well, so much for that Monster Bass rod. Holy crud. That, did you see that dude come chase it out of there? Oh my gosh. And yeah, it just snapped right there. So it's kind of a weird place. Usually, you know, a tip when you're high sticking a fish, you break the tip of it or something like that. But in the middle of a hook set like that to kind of break in the middle of it, I thought was pretty strange. Now, I actually let Rick know about it. Rick said, hey, you know, I'll send you more rods, replace it. I said, don't worry about it, dude. It's okay. I just want to let you know in case there's any issues. He said, no, we haven't heard of people breaking, you know, those in the middle. So I don't think it's anything to be scared of if you bought one of these. I still really liked them. Like I said, I fished 4 of them last year and really good. And at the price point, I think they were like $150, somewhere around in there. I don't remember for sure, but good for the price. Solid rods, especially for them, you know, kind of taking a first crack at it. I thought they did really well. So besides that one breaking was the only thing I had to be transparent about it. And last up is the only rod that I can say I hated. I really didn't have much gear this year, again, that I was like, oh, this thing is absolutely awful. Most of the stuff I tested was pretty darn good. Some things I liked better than the others, but the 6 cents Vega frog rod, I did not like at all. Now, the first deal, I know when I picked it up and put a reel on it, a bit more of a tip-heavy rod. Not crazy, but it comes out here a little ways, which I did not love. You can see. The second thing was, you know, it's a little bit, you know, thicker rod, which is okay. I don't like real tiny finesse stuff when I'm frogging. I know it sounds weird, but I don't like to have like a real delicate, I like it to feel meaty, which this one did. The problem is, for frogging, I really don't like the micro guides, and it has micro guides on it, so that didn't make sense to me, because I've had it where, in the tip especially, it's a micro guide, where you're reeling in either that cotton or some of that kind of sticky, slimy, like wiry, hairy algae will get caught in there, and you can't reel. It'll completely block up that guide. So I don't know why they did that. The other thing was, once I tightened the reel on, look at that. So the reel nut's all crooked. See how it's like goes down? It's running out of threading here on the rod to actually hold on to it. It's barely just right on the edge holding on to this. Why there's this much thread up here, I don't know. That was the other thing. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why? I don't know. So I don't know if this was an error, like one that was messed up. Also, it was sharp up here. And this is no knock on 6 cents. I've got 6 cents rods I like, so there. I don't think I have it out for them, some vendetta, but I'm just being honest with this one. Otherwise, the grip felt pretty good. You know, everything else with the rod felt all right. You know, walking it and everything, the tip, casting, the action of it, backbone versus tip, that was all good. It was just all this other stuff. And when you hold a rod, especially for something like frogging, and it hurts your finger there, that's a problem. But there it is, that's my list. Comment below and let me know, what did you think of my favorites? Some of the ones that were kind of in the middle with some issues, and then that was honestly really the only rod or reel that I tested that I was like, I absolutely do not like this. I'm still working on the best and worst moments of the year. It is just so much to go back through a year's worth. I noticed I fished a lot more this year, which was my goal, and I love it. I want to keep that up for 2025. Fishing was fun again in 2024 for me. It has to be that way. It can't feel like a job going out there, because that's my time to get away and have fun, and filming and all that has to work with it. So having the kayak did that, kind of taking some pressure off me, having fun with it again, not worrying as much about how many videos I'm doing and, you know, what are the views and all this, kind of throwing all that stuff out the window and having fun. So I appreciate you all, because again, I would not be here if it wasn't all for awesome people like you. And I remind myself, just like Chris, making this for me, you know, people who out there who appreciate my videos, who send me stuff. I've got a pretty cool subscriber unboxing coming up. It's truly because of all of you that I'm here. So thanks for the support. Keep watching. Keep giving a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you're not already. But that's all I got. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and until next time.